Perfect. There we go. Excellent. Okay, Tara, we're all yours. Do you want me to do a roll call?
Sure. If you don't mind doing that. Thank you.
Not a problem. Piat, I think, is excused. Yang?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
There's Brian. There he is. Thank you, sir. Kalewarts?
Here.
John's here. Yep. Thank you. Sherman?
Here.
Champion? Yep. He's here. Gotcha. Thanks, Ace. Gotcha. And Garcia?
Here.
Chris is here too. Excellent. So we have everybody here. So we're all good. Tara, do you want to go take it from here?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. Thanks for making the meeting today. The next item here is the approval of the agenda. And I don't know if I can do this, but I was the one who approved the agenda, but actually I want to amend it and add in maybe introductions just because it's been 5 months. So just
Absolutely.
A quick introduction of your name and maybe your occupation or something like that. Something quick.
I think that's we'll keep that as part of roll call, Tara. That's still under roll call. We'll just do it under that one. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that then. Okay. All right, so I guess I'll go first. My name is Terry Yang. My family and I own Main Oriental Market downtown. We've been in business for about 16 years.
Perfect. Alder Johnson, you want to hop in and make it official? There he is. He's getting set up. Give him a second here. You're still muted, Brian.
Okay, how's that?
There you go. Hey, there you go. Perfect.
I was literally checking into my hotel room here in Chicago while this was going on. So, Brian Johnson, obviously alderman for near West Side, but pending the outcome of the election, this new district would also include a lot of the east side of downtown as well.
Perfect. John?
All right. John Kelwarts. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Conway, Owen, Jack and Jerry.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Glenn.
Hi, Glenn Sherman. I'm a captain with City of Green Bay Fire Department, 31 years, and I own Prohibition Spirits and Cigar Lounge on Broadway.
Excellent. And Ace, can you safely introduce yourself, buddy? You're muted right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Sound loud and clear.
I had to pick up my son from college. I'm pulling in the driveway now.
Oh, that's cool. Well, like I said, it would be perfect timing then. So
yeah, perfect timing. Well, Ace Champion. I teach cooking classes in the area. I'm also a private chef, and I host and own the TV cooking show Cook Like a Champion on CW14 here local.
Very nice. And one of our recipients of some funds that Wendy and Matt help oversee. So he's been a good customer of some of our programs too. So.
Oh yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris Garcia. I'm a transportation planner with the Bay Lake Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Matt. We'll go through city staff here.
Hi all, I'm Matt Buchanan. I'm an economic development specialist with the city.
Wendy.
My name is Wendy Townsend. I'm with the City of Green Bay and Community and Economic Development as well.
Perfect. And Lisa Berglund is the mysterious name behind her. She's the one who makes sure all our IT things and everything gets running and recording back there. So she's back in the office. Thank you, Lisa. Stephanie's doing the same thing back there for us. I'm Neil Stexelty. I'm the development director here. I get all these folks are the ones who actually really run the department. I just kind of show up and wave my hands and make it look like I'm doing something. So, but all these other folks in the city are the ones who really keep all the plates spinning. So, so I think that's everybody. I know we've got, looks like Garrett. Is that GB? Is that you, Mr. Bader, on the phone there? Okay, he's all right. He's here. We'll get to him shortly. He's part of our agenda item. So, and I think that's everybody, Tara. So, whoop, Terry's still muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Rookie mistake. It's been two years on virtual calls and I'm still making that mistake. Sorry.
So does everybody, Tara. So does everybody.
It was great to meet everyone again. So the next agenda item would be to approve the agenda. So can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a
So
motion.
moved.
Oops. Okay, I'll say a motion by Garcia.
I
Second.
think Alder Johnson got the second there, I think. Yep.
Okay, yep, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and then approval of minutes. The approval of minutes would be for the meeting on August 2nd from 2021.
Point of order, Chair. We actually have to conduct the voice vote on that last.
Oh
item.
yeah, sorry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor? Okay, thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
Perfect.
Yes, please do correct me if I miss any steps along the way. All right, so next would be the approval of the minutes for the August 2nd meeting of 2021 there.
To approve.
Okay, we have a first from Alder Johnson,
I'll second.
second from Garcia. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor? Okay. So the next step would be regular business. And this part, I believe that I will leave it to you, Director, right? Is that
That's me, Tara. Yep. I
Okay,
can
perfect.
absolutely give a staff report on this.
okay, thanks, Neil.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So the actual motion item is consideration and possible action regarding a planning option by on Broadway for city-owned properties on Chestnut Avenue, including specifically parcels 4-83, 4-82, 4-81, and 4-80. If folks, these are familiar, this is, if obviously you've been watching the news here within the last couple of weeks, some exciting news about the public market project that's kind of being proposed on Broadway right now. This is essentially, was the request is coming before you here today. There are the lots immediately behind, opposite of Broadway, behind this building, the old Fort Square building, are there are several city-owned parcels. There are several RDA-owned parcels, and kind of looking at a possible redevelopment of those sites in addition to the public market project specifically. We're trying to just kind of get those basically under an option for on Broadway to continue their planning efforts in regards to doing that. The RDA has already approved essentially a planning option of pretty much almost identical language except for the parcels being different. But as these are city-owned parcels, we felt that was required to kind of bring it through this particular body, this committee, before it goes on to City Council for some review and questions if there were any. Essentially, you know, this is the project being looked at back there. Certainly is all existing property is largely parking for the most part. Is largely just a paved area. Looking at, there are some utilities in the area. There's a large stormwater main that is in there in the area that we're kind of looking at in terms of the importance and how we can do that. There's some overhead utilities also in the area that will need some coordination and planning, essentially, as we kind of look at a possible building on the backside there. The General Capital was actually the developer who was actually was announced as part of the announcement from on Broadway last week. So city staff actually met with them briefly today to kind of start looking over some of their concepts for that particular area. They are very sensitive to wanting to make sure that they are not interrupting any city services or disrupting parking. They know they're going to have to come up with some specific plans, not only on how to park their own individual project, but also coordinating with the city in terms of kind of coming up with a parking plan for hopefully the market if and when that project actually occurs. So this essentially is some kind of bringing forward the language for your review and discussion to see if they're to basically commit to allowing the city to basically guarantee that they're not going to be changing the use for the duration of this agreement to allow on Broadway and potentially this new developer to actually come up with a concept plan and kind of do their due diligence on providing a new redevelopment for those particular sites. So staff is recommending approval. It's basically essentially in exchange for a $5 option. It's a minimal price because it is city-owned land and we've kind of already got ready to go that we want to just make it official. The city attorney asked if we put a nominal value on this, so that there was actually a value exchange for what's going on here. That matters more to the legal folks than it does the financial folks, obviously, to do that. But I think the most important thing to note, certainly from staff standpoint, is that the use of these individual parcels will not change during this planning option. It'll remain public parking and access for those users in the immediate area. I think what we're certainly want to make the note of is that anything that does move forward, there will not be any sort of transaction of property without a full formal purchase agreement or development agreement. So this is essentially just allowing the window to say we're agreeing to allow on Broadway the rights to kind of proceed with their planning on this particular site. So with that, we are recommending approval to the agreement as it is attached, but we're certainly available to answer any questions. I believe Alder Johnson is also here. He'll be taking off his EDA hat for tonight, I think, and not voting on this one, and is certainly able to answer questions about the market project if anyone has any. So with that,
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you, Neil, for that. I just want to say congratulations. This is amazing. And I think this is something that downtown needs to be revitalized. So it's exciting. I think one question I had is, it's not a, I was just wondering what the timeline would look like for this.
So right now, and it's, I'll try to, Brian can correct me if I'm wrong. So looking at trying to get property closed on and under control here in the next couple of months, and hopefully with some actual proceeding with the actual planning and then of the project, the full redevelopment plans for the project, probably over the next 4 to 6 months, perhaps, and then actually probably starting some construction, maybe some work, maybe as early as end of this year at perfect scenario, but more likely probably in 2023, my imagine would be a majority of when the work would take place. Or at least be started, I should say, would begin and then in earnest at that in 2023. And I think if anybody would like to ask them, ask either Alder Johnson or Mr. Bader any specific questions, usually we would just ask for a motion to open the floor. If anyone has any specific questions for them.
I do have one question. If you want to, somebody wants to make a motion to open the floor.
Okay, I'll make a motion to open the floor. Motion
Second.
to open the floor. Second. Okay. Motion by Yang, second by Sherman. The floor's all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, all not in favor. All right, so the floor is open for questions.
All right. Glenn Sherman here. I just one question. I don't know if anybody can kind of talk to this. And I know that you had brought up parking, but you guys have all seen the questions and a lot of being a Broadway business owner. I know that a lot of other business owners down there probably have, or they have had some of those questions. And can you address, or can somebody address that a little bit about what specifically the parking, what they're going to add, or what you guys are thinking to how to alleviate that concern?
Yeah, no, I'll take a first stab at that. And if Garrett wants to chime in afterwards, certainly welcome that. I think first and foremost, it's important to recognize that our request today before you is for the planning option, which essentially gives us the exclusive planning rights over that lot, meaning that this, if approved by this body, it just means that you can't grant that same option to another company. So it gives us the ability to continue those planning efforts without sort of having the carpet pulled out from underneath us with another company. And so the reason I bring that up is because right now we are still very much in conceptual phase. We don't have a lot of answers to those questions. And this is typically the first step in a development process. Now that said, why is on Broadway asking for the planning option instead of general capital? Simply put, because we are probably the most sensitive to the overall district needs for parking, as opposed to the needs for parking for just that one building. And it's our intent that at some point down the road, we would come back to you and ask for this planning option to be transferred over to general capital when we're at a point that we feel our needs are being sufficiently addressed within that planning process. And those needs specifically would be to include some type of structured parking within that development. So our objective is to make sure that there's not a net loss of parking. In fact, we want to see a net gain of parking stalls back there. We have some other things that we're working on that are just not quite ready for public consumption yet, that would help create some additional capacity in the parking, including a better parking management strategy. But again, right now we're still in conceptual phase, and as Director Steckschulte alluded to, before any agreement is finalized, that would still have to come before not only this body, but the RDA and then ultimately City Council for final approval. And of course, that would be the time when we could really talk about specifics in terms of parking demands. Does that help answer your question, Glenn?
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Or if I could just add to, and obviously we're looking at this individual project is not going to be certainly be able to support the parking for the entire new market development when it happens. This one individual development spot's not going to do that. So what we're going from the city standpoint, we're actually going to take a look at up and down the block from that entire area too, Glenn, in terms of looking for if there's additional opportunities for some new surface parking. The RDA owns a lot of lots in that immediate area. Is there certainly probably already currently being used for parking? Is there a way to make that a little bit more efficient? Are there opportunities for some additional, public parking based on some areas we're looking at there? So we're going to take a real hard look at expanding beyond, not only for the individual private project that's going to happen behind the market. We want to make sure we've got a sufficient parking up and down that area, public parking for the busiest day on a market day when it's 70 degrees out and everybody wants to come outside on a Saturday morning kind of thing and come hang out from some big event or festival that's going on down in this area. We want to make sure we've got a good plan and strategy to handle that. Certainly the day-to-day parking for individual businesses that are down there, but also for the big event kind of days in terms of when we see, hopefully seeing more of those kinds of things happening and bringing more traffic down to the area. But we're going to need probably a little bit more of a comprehensive overview of not just the individual site, but we're going to take a little bit of cast a little bit wider net in terms of looking at the parking up and down that area, really for probably a couple blocks each way, I would imagine. So.
Yeah, understood. I, not just as a business owner, but as a citizen and somebody that lives here, I think this is an incredible idea, and I welcome it. I just know that that's going to be the biggest question. And the biggest concern from anybody that is down in that area is, and I hear those complaints on a regular basis at the business is, yeah, we had to park, I don't know how far away, and it could be 2 blocks. People don't like walking for some reason, but, it'd be nice if this could be a nice combination of walking district and, and if we can provide that parking, I just don't want to scare people away, obviously, and people still think Broadway is what it was 25 years ago. So, and they haven't taken the time to come and take a look, but I'm very excited about this project. I hope it doesn't hit a lot of speed bumps. I hope it goes through. So it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great comment too. And in terms of making sure that the walking environment is as cool and as pleasant for people as we can make it too. And I think that's a big deal in terms of just making it a fun place and a safe place through good lighting, nice amenities, benches, whatever we can do to make it a pleasant walk. I mean, so like I said, it's hard enough to get guys like me, me and my resume here to get me to go walking down and to actually enjoy walking a couple blocks. That's up to us to help make that environment something unique and special where folks are like, hey, absolutely. There's 24 cool shops between here and the market. Absolutely. Let's park and let's stop in and check stuff out as we go up and down. So hopefully that's, we're going to certainly be trying to maximize that as part of this look as well. So.
And you bring up a good point, Neil, and it's, we talk a lot about how our role as an organization is really to create a walkable district and extend the stay, the amount of time that people spend in the district, the number of stores that they might patronize. And I appreciate the concerns about parking. I think if I were to say one thing, it would, maybe to just hopefully help people realize that we are sensitive to that topic. We're cognizant of the fact that there will be some additional demands placed on downtown parking, and we're working on a solution. But simultaneously, I want to be sure that we're having the conversation about what are we going to do with all these extra customers? Because I think that's a really important discussion point to be had as well.
Any other questions for Alder Johnson or Mr. Bader? If not, I guess, Madam Chair, a motion to close the floor would be in order if that's okay, if that's the desire of the body here.
Sounds like it's pretty quiet and I don't see any hands raised here. So, all right, I will make a motion to close the floor.
I'll second.
Okay. Second by Garcia there. All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, please say nay. Okay. Thank you for that, sharing that information. I appreciate that. So then the motion in regarding for a request for a planning option moves forward and is approved by the EDA here.
Well, I mean, actually, so we just had, I think we just had the motion just to close the
Oh,
floor,
sorry.
Tara. Yep,
Sorry,
yep,
you're
so
right.
that's okay, so yeah.
I'm
But
moving- I'm
that's what
getting
we're
ahead of
hoping for, though.
myself.
I'll make a motion to approve, though.
Okay, so motion to approve by Garcia then, is that right?
Yep.
Second.
Okay, second by by Glenn Sherman there. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, please say nay.
Chair, I just need to have the record reflect that I abstained.
Okay, yep, so Alder Brian Johnson is abstained from this vote because he's participating in this project.
Thank you very much.
All right, so then now I can say, right, that the motion in regards to the request for a planning body is approved. Okay, by the EDA. All right, so moving forward to agenda item F, informational. The first thing that's up is the staff update on brownfield programs.
All right, that is me. And let me get this up and going. Hopefully you can see my screen. All right, so we haven't met in a while, but staff has been quite busy these past few months with spending down our EPA grant dollars. I think the last time we met, I was at about maybe 41% of my budget spent of our $300,000 assessment grants. We're now at 87%. So we've got $300,000 grant, 261's been spent down. We've assessed 9 sites. This is just a map of the area where we've been assessing properties throughout the city, primarily around the shipyard project, the Badger sheet metal site. Also, since we've last met, we picked up a couple new sites. One is 2540 University Avenue, which is the former JBS Packerland packaging site, as well as the former Fabry Glove site. We've done some assessments at both of those properties. Most of the work we've been doing these past few months, though, have been additional testing at the Badger sheet metal site as we've been preparing for that property to get redeveloped. You know, we want to make sure that's as shovel ready as can be. So that's where we've been dedicating the majority of our dollars. 2540 University Avenue. This here's just an image of what the property used to look like a couple years ago when the former Packerland packaging site was on it. We've done a phase 2 on this, spent about $24,000 of our grant. This was recently in the news as of a couple months ago. TuneIn, a local developer, has a development agreement approved on this site to pick this up and redevelop these 33 acres. They're proposing 209 market rate units. If this moves forward as planned, we would leverage 21.9 million in increased property value. And that leverage is really important when it comes to being able to show EPA that we're putting their grant dollars to good use. And that's what helps us secure additional grants in the future, which we're going to be needing very soon. As I said, Badger, this is the site on South Broadway where we've been dedicating a good portion of our grant dollars towards this site. This one is owned by the Green Bay Redevelopment Authority. We've been doing supplemental investigations on the site to really get a handle on where the contamination is so we can remediate. We also invested in a report for asbestos and lead-based paint inside the building. We're going to have to demolish this, and so we need to get a better understanding of where those contaminants are so we can address them. We've invested about $83,000 in this property. Impact 7 is the developer that currently has a planning option. That is set to go back to RDA next month in March. So hopefully we'll be hearing from them very soon as to what's coming next. Their proposal includes 238 apartments, 9,400 square feet of retail space, a green roof, and this one could potentially leverage 52.7 million. So it's a very big project for our community. It's quite a blighted property, so it'd be great to get this turned over. We also have an EPA cleanup grant. We've actually got several, 3 grants, one with EPA for $500,000 and then 2 with the WDC for $1 million. This project is moving forward. We've invested over $1 million in those grant dollars towards the remediation so far. Merge Urban Development has their proposal to redevelop the north side of the site with 225 apartments. $21 million is expected to be leveraged with that portion of the project. And we are moving forward on this one with the waterfront improvements to be started. Actually, we're going out to bid on the waterfront improvements with the public amenities here in the next few weeks. This is just a site plan of the total site. So of course, on the south side or the left side of the screen, we've got the public park that's proposed with the great lawn for events, the playground, the marina, container park, dog park. And then on the right side, we've got Merge's proposal with their buildings. And this is just the phasing plan. So here, this next spring, we'll be moving forward with phase 1, which are those waterfront improvements. Phase 2 would likely start the following year, and phase 3 a couple of years after that. But the remediation component of this is all really going to get wrapped up here in the next few months, actually, probably by the end of 22. So we'll spend down those grant dollars and we'll have a clean site ready for new development. And then the last thing I'll mention for my regular update is, we do have our Brownfields revolving loan funds. This is a brand new program that was funded last year. We've got $800,000 to loan out to developers to remediate sites. We are currently marketing this program on our website, and as we meet with developers, we do have a couple interested developers that we're talking to now that will be hopefully submitting an application not too far down the road. So hopefully we'll be back here reporting on those projects the next time we meet. And that's it for my report, unless there are any questions.
It's like you're in the clear, Matt.
All right, I'm trying to learn how to figure out how to stop sharing. Sorry about that. How do I get this back?
Matt, for what it's worth, I think you just continue to do an amazing job with leveraging those funds. So kudos to you and your colleagues.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, if I can only get the
Yeah, I think as the gatekeeper, I can take it off. There we go.
There we go.
Got it.
There we are. Oops, Terry, you're still muted. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was just saying thank you, Matt, for that update. The next item here is the director's report. So on to you, Neil.
Yep, very briefly here. Staff is continuing to work on with something this body has been involved in the past, and that's the expansion of our business park and our industrial parks. We have been doing a considerable amount of work, our planning staff, especially on the I-43, we're calling it the I-43 expansion area park, although it's not, we know that's not its end. No, we need something catchier and sexier than that, than the name of that. But we're working on that. But they have updated they're working on updating the plan unit development zoning for that entire business park expansion area. Hopefully that will be coming forward here within the next couple of months. We're also preparing for a new TIF district to kind of help fund any infrastructure improvements we might need to do there. So as those come forward, probably both of those items will probably come back through this body so we can take a look at that and get some feedback on those as they move forward. But we are excited. We are seeing a considerable amount of industrial industrial activity right now in the city. Keller Builders I think is actually broken ground on a speculative warehouse building, although I don't think it's very speculative anymore. I think last I heard, I think they had 2/3 of it filled up already before, but I think they've got a little bit of space still left on as far as warehousing space. But obviously, a couple things. Nature's Way is preparing for another expansion, which has been just a great Green Bay business story in terms of all the growth that they've experienced. We're looking forward to working with them on that. Also, Georgia Pacific is moving forward on a $500 million expansion of their facilities and their operations, and not asking for any assistance. I think that's the most amazing story in terms of obviously in this day and age, especially. So we're really excited about that with them, with some site plan issues and some other things there, but some really tremendous industrial activity. So we're kind of eager to get the next phase of the business park kind of up and open. I know those landowners out there are also they're very excited to try to get something moving out on their end as well. So fingers crossed, we have something moving forward, and I do have one very active development prospect we are working with on about 40 acres. Right now that we hopefully will have. We've exchanged off. They've made us a proposal. We've kind of countered with some information, and hopefully we're going to be coming back with something hopefully shortly. If that would involve a transfer of that property, we would be coming back again to this body for kind of run that proposal through this group if and when that happens. The only other item that is out there, staff is taking a look at. Obviously, we haven't met since a long time. We want to see if there's maybe some efficiencies and keep folks who are interested, but potentially seeing if it would be feasible to merge the RDA and EDA into one just development authority and see if that is actually feasible. It's not as simple a task as you would think. We want to make sure that there are specific statutory abilities and powers and duties that come with each entity. So we need to make sure that whatever we end up doing, and that we're maintaining those powers and duties from each organization. So then maybe there isn't going to be any additional efficiencies that are achieved by that. But we do want to definitely at least take a look and see that. We certainly want to keep anybody who's interested. This is not certainly an effort to get anybody off, and we want to keep all the active folks who are interested and engaged. We want to make sure we're keeping those folks involved. So there is no immediate rush on this, but it is something we are taking an active look at. At some point, we'll probably have a report back and kind of share that with everybody in terms of kind of reminding, kind of almost like a 101 back again for us to say, okay, here's the EDA, here's how it was created, here's what its role has been historically, here's what we see it doing going forward. Do the same thing for the RDA and kind of present both of those options and just out here for discussion for both bodies. So again, probably nothing pending, but we are starting to do some work on that. Most of it is just making sure we're enhancing the ability of the bodies, not diminishing them, which is certainly staff's primary concern at this point. So, but certainly we'll want to keep you guys posted on that. Again, there's anything that is imminent, but we're not going to be meeting on a regular basis for you guys. If there's a way to roll folks who are interested into that one and still maintain that body and do it that way and have one less formal meeting, we at least want to take a look at that and pitch that to everybody for their 2 cents. So more to come on that. We just want to make sure that you guys were aware of that. We're not trying to get rid of anybody. We just want to make sure we're doing it as efficiently and using everybody's time and resources as effectively as we can. So with that, I am available for questions if anybody has any.
Neil, I have a quick question. Not really in particular to anything that you stated today, but going back to the parklets that the grants that you guys were giving out, how much of that was used, and how much of that funding is left over? Did you guys have to deplete that funding, use it all?
Yep, that's a great question, and I'm going to hand it over to Matt for that one because he's one of our parklet experts. So.
Yeah, Aaron Ravinsky on our team is the one administering those funds. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I know that we still have funds available and would love to get that out the door. We did EDA did give us approval on one grant to the ADRC. I don't believe they've implemented that yet, so I think Aaron's going to be working with them here in the next couple months to get that project wrapped up. But in short, the answer is we've got more money to spend. So if you're aware of any businesses that might be interested, please send those our way.
And specifically, we knew there were we did receive some inquiries last year that for some reason or not, they didn't follow through. So they're in terms of actually coming through with the parklet. So they're on the top of our list to reach out to and see if we can get them interested in doing one this year. So we did track those folks who were interested, but for some reason decided not to proceed with the program. So hopefully we can get them to try one this year.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest. I think a lot of businesses there, as many of you are aware, business owners are very busy people. And so I think some of them were just waiting to see how the program would work and see how their neighbors would do with it. So we'll continue to provide that option, and hopefully we'll see some more of those be awarded here this next season.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do we have any other questions for Matt or Neil? If not, I'd like to note that our next meeting is March 7th, 2022, unless otherwise noted different from Jessica or any of the staff members. But if there's no other questions, then the last thing here is to adjourn the meeting. So if someone wants to make a motion for that.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Alderman Johnson. A second, anyone?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, second by Garcia. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, please say nay. All right, so thank you everyone for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. It's great to see everyone again. Hopefully the March meeting goes through so we can see each other more often here, but all right, thank you. Have a good night.
Sounds good. Ace, enjoy having your guy home, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks, bud.